Hello and welcome to another episode of Recliner Wrestling Review. Jared and John here. John, how's it going today, man?
Things are good. Ready to talk some NWO.
Oh yeah, brother. I mean, tell me a little bit about the No Way Out pay-per-view from 2002 from your vantage point. Is this one that you saw live or as it happened, I should say? Did you order the pay-per-view or?
I feel like this one I missed, but I was watching pretty diehard at the time. Because I remember leading up to WrestleMania 18, and this is like 4 weeks before it, and looking back at that timeline, it is Flair and McMahon's kind of the big feud going on, and McMahon's bringing in the NWO to kill his creation, and I really liked it. The idea about the outsiders and Hogan coming in, and some of the stuff was good, some of the stuff wasn't. But the hype around this pay-per-view was pretty big.
Yes, it was. They really did a good job with this, especially being the pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And it's kind of, in my opinion, like the beginnings of that road to WrestleMania.
I remember, like back then, and was it 2002? I remember thinking, "No Way Out," NWO, in my little kid head.
Right.
I was a teenager at the time.
Yeah, and
it's like, it all makes sense. It's perfect.
Everybody's first conspiracy theory. It was them all along. It was them all along. Very cool.
One thing I like, before we even get into the pay-per-view, one of my big takeaways from this was there was a ton of people on this show. Like, looking back, like, WCW had ended. We're looking almost. We're getting close to a year to the day. They wrapped up the whole invasion angle at Survivor Series, and now you're bringing in the NWO, and I just could not believe the number of people on this show.
Yeah,
there was a ton.
That's true. That's a good point. It's very true. And not only that long after acquiring WCW, but we're now only 2 months out at this point from WWF changing to WWE. So it's kind of that era of change and trying new things and finding new things. So before we jump in on today's show, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like you said, John, No Way Out, NWO. The DVD cover was really cool. Obviously, we've got a triple main event in store. Lots, not only a lot of people, but just a lot of star power, a lot of big names. We got some great matches that we'll touch on. I'll go ahead and throw some of those up here. We had the tag team turmoil match. I can't think of another one that's ever happened. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it worked. We've got one of the three main events, The Rock versus The Undertaker. We've got number one contendership match for Triple H versus Kurt Angle with Stephanie McMahon Helmsley ? As the special guest referee. And
get the H out.
Right, get the H out. And the undisputed WWF Championship with Chris Jericho versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, holy smokes, it's a stacked deck for sure.
Let's get started. Let's talk about it.
All right, so February 17th, 2002 from the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is the fourth edition of No Way Out, and it's the last one under the WWF umbrella. So we start out the show with a lot of fun pyro and stuff. Well, look at there. There's a set. Back when we had sets that changed on pay-per-views. And this one was a very special set to me. And I don't know that I've talked about this on the show, but so whenever I was 17, I actually befriended somebody that worked in WWF at this time. Not for WWF, but with WWF. And he was actually one of the drivers of the trucks. And so these are their actual trucks that at that time were contracted out by a company from New York called Janco. And this is where my friend worked at. So I remember this pay-per-view because the whole show, all I could do is this. Like, see if I could see, is that his truck? Is that one? You know, that kind of thing. So it was really a cool thing for me at that time. So to see these trucks incorporated in the set was a really cool thing and just way different for any look that WWF had presented at this point. So,
yeah. And I thought the setup was really cool. Having the videos on the semi trucks, I thought that was nice. Having all the pyro go off, and then the what do we call it? Little square, tilted square. In
Right,
the
yeah,
middle.
like the road sign looking.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it looked really good. It came across well for that live crowd and on TV.
Yes, for sure. And speaking of the live crowd, so according to Wikipedia, this pay-per-view had 15,291 people in attendance, and the capacity for wrestling for that building, the Bradley Center, is 18,800. So we're right at about 3,000 shy of what an actual sellout would be. Again, according to Wikipedia, the buy rate was 575,000. So not a bad day at the office, kid. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler are on commentary for this, and we start the show out. Right on top with the NWO coming out. They make their way to the ring and do this little babyface turn promo. It was really pretty interesting. So, John, what did you think of their babyface turn?
I mean, they weren't babyface. I don't think they were babyface. They were hamming it up like they're the good guys. We're just here to get along. I love the promo. Scott Hall kind of did that little wink to all the smart marks, like here to have some drinks, and Kevin's like, not you, buddy.
Right? No, yeah. I don't know, man. I think obviously they were nodding the cap to the people that were in on it, but I think they were like it was kind of a halfway serious like little swerve bro babyface turn.
Yeah, you knew they're not there to be good.
Yeah. Well, commentary definitely sold that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm meaning more for the people that are there live, or like because they did end up winning over that crowd. They started from booing to cheers. So,
but I thought Scott was great. Nash was fine on the mic. My favorite line of the whole thing, besides that Scott Hall little drink nod, but Hogan says, "God bless Vince McMahon," which just tickled me. I loved that.
Right?
I thought it was hilarious. Because good old Terry brother, he hasn't been in the company in 9 years, something like that at this point.
Yep.
Like he left right after WrestleMania 9, so he hasn't been back, and we're building towards 18. So just shy of 9 years, he's been gone.
Yeah.
And to have him say, "God bless Vince McMahon," just gave me a giggle. I thought that was fun. The what from the crowd I thought was at its all-time peak and super annoying watching it back.
Yep.
But that just shows how over Austin was. But what after every time.
Well, and it also showed how much veteran star power there was in the ring with NWO. With like immediately you see them learn how to navigate the cadence to let's veer away from this and let's tip into that when we want, but we're running the show, not you.
Oh, they had that crowd in the palm of their hand. All three of them. They were
absolutely
great.
Well, and I have a note here that I really want to make a point to say that I thought it was really smart, whether it was the three of them or the writers or Vince or whoever, but the order in which they spoke was brilliant. I thought it was great to have Nash, do his thing and plant the seeds of this little baby face kind of thing. And then all Hall had to do is go, Ayo, boom, instant pop, because now they're on our side. And then when you thought that pop was good, here comes the guy you've been wanting to see back in the WWF for all these years with Hogan. Brilliant roster order on that, in my opinion. That really stood out to me.
And I thought that was a great way to start the show, like with the NWO, because like they're advertising these guys like crazy. You're expecting them to be a big deal, and hey, let's give the people what they want right away. Just a taste, though, just a little bit.
Yep.
You're gonna get more later, but just to start out and get that live crowd excited about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So from that promo, we go to some live action. We've got Scotty 2 Hotty with Albert in this tag team turmoil match. Actually, he was referred to as the Hip Hop Hippo.
Thank you for that.
And then we get Christian and Lance Storm, if we could be serious for a moment.
Yeah, the ironic part of that to me was the whole Christian, at last you're on your own. Oh. And then he comes out with the tag team partner. Like, well,
I didn't even catch that, but that's hysterical.
It's like, well, you did the solo thing, and now
you've just traded up.
We got you with Lance, yeah.
That's too funny. I didn't even notice that.
Little things. I don't know.
Right. No, we all have those things that stand out to us. So in the match, we get a lot of interesting, I don't want to say false finishes, but false finishers, to where we get the worm, but oh no, we don't get the worm. We get we get a super kick into the Unprettier, and it's just chaos. There's the 1, 2, 3. So Christian and Lance Storm continue on, and Scotty 2 Hotty and Prince Albert, the Hip Hop Hippo, are out.
Thank you.
And up next, coming to the ring, is the Hardy Boys with Lita. There's a what is it? A calf kick from inadvertently, I think, if I remember this right, from Lance into a Christian, which kind of causes them their spot. Get a swanton onto Lance Storm for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Matt Hardy hit the twist of fate to lead into the swanton. So
that's correct.
Got their moves in.
Yep. And then I got a shot of this, which was really cool for me. The next people to come out is the Dudley Boys with that really cool pyro coming from the ceiling to the floor.
You're worried about the pyro. I forgot they had Stacy Keibler with them for a while.
Yeah. She's got legs.
But she walked out and I'm like, oh yeah, Stacy was with the Dudleys for a while. That fell out of my head.
Yep, sure enough. So we get this we get a twist of fate. And this is when he goes for a twist of fate. Stacy Keibler makes her presence known, comes into the ring, grabs Hardy by the hair, and Lita is not having that. So then we get a spear into a cat fight.
Yep.
And man, boy, did the crowd go nuts for that. Everybody's wanting to see that. We get because of all that crazy distraction, we get Bubba with the Bubba Bomb onto Matt Hardy for the 1, 2, 3.
Matt rolled up Devon is what I have.
I'm sorry, yes, Devon. Yeah.
Matt rolls up Devon for the pin, and then after the match, the Dudleys hit a 3D on the outside to Jeff.
Correct. Yeah. So after Matt takes that Bubba Bomb, Lita gives a Lita Conrana to Bubba and gets him out of the ring, and that's when he rolls Devon up for the win, pulling the tights. So, and also in that, you see there's like this weird clothesline kind of thing, which busts Devon's mouth open, which, they didn't really show it a lot. It was just one of those things I noticed, so I snagged it. But next out, you look so good to me.
What a great song.
I tell you what, isn't it though? We get Billy Gunn with Chuck Palumbo and their wonderful their fabulous tag team. We immediately get a Famouser, and that's our 1, 2, 3 for Matt Hardy. They're out, and then all of a sudden we get business is picking up. We get APA coming out to the ring with a clothesline from hell that was holy smokes. It was awesome, as always. And of course, there's your 1, 2, 3. And APA pick up the win for the match, and that's who wins the tag team turmoil. And I think, wasn't that to determine the number 1 contendership? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yep. Fun match. One thing I noticed in it, and this is just kind of going back to the times of 2002 or whatever, if they were all just young and hungry, everyone in this match was moving 1,000 miles an hour.
Yes, but it didn't seem like, slow down, guys, like this is hard to keep up with commentary or what. No, it was like exactly perfect.
I mean, you're coming off of 2000, 2001, where you started having the ladder matches and it ups the ante on things.
Right.
Well, I think it made like the matches started to pick up the pace. People wanted more action, and this match gave it to them. It was very quick. And one of the thoughts I had was, did they cut their time? I mean, they are
true because
running through the motions.
Yeah. And once those finishes started happening, it was like you're out, you're in, you're out, and but it was paced like a Royal Rumble match, if we're being honest.
Yeah, even Albert and Scotty and Christian and Lance, that was moving pretty quick too, and I was like, wow, they're going for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No complaints about the match, but I mean, they were going quick.
Yeah, I'm 100% the same. No complaints. I actually kind of enjoyed, especially as a show opener, that fast-paced style of it. Without, I mean, and there didn't have to be any crazy bumps, nothing over the top. It was just exactly kind of what I thought it needed to be. So, yeah. So up next, we've got a backstage segment with Michael Cole.
Frosted Tips.
Oh, Frosted Tips McGee, man. Yep. Backstage with Flair, who is the in storyline co-owner of the WWF. He talks about the WWF locker room of wrestlers that are willing to teach the NWO about respect. And then all of a sudden we get Taker interrupting the interview and says, not to worry about keeping an eye on the NWO, but to worry about who's keeping an eye on you. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Sets the seeds for what's to come next month at Mania.
Right.
Nice little thing, and sets the stage for later in the show. So that was a nice little backstage interaction. Yeah,
and I also like the small little nod of the cap to Flair being that, heel that he is with his heel tendencies. To when he says, you need to watch for who's watching you, Flair, and he's like, yeah, you're right. It's that starting to show you, hey, I'm gonna back off a little bit, and yeah, good, nicely done setup. So the next match we get is Goldust versus Rob Van Damme. I like how I did the RVD thing and not on camera. So Goldust comes to the ring. We get Rob Van Damme. Then before we get into the match, one of the things that I thought was interesting about this, and it started as Goldust was making his entrance, was, did you notice anything odd about the commentary for Goldust?
No, I just remember thinking, did Goldust just come back at Rumble? That was kind of going through my head.
Okay, so and it could be I didn't do enough homework to figure all that out, but I think that probably he did just recently return in some capacity, because keep in mind Goldust debuted in the WWF in 1995, and this is in 2002, so we fast forwarded 7 years. And we've already passed the artist formerly known as Goldust. We've passed the Dustin Rhodes run that was super quick. And now on commentary on this pay-per-view, I thought it was interesting that commentary went back to the origins of the Goldust character and their build-up to the match, and talked about how he had been watching old movies, how he had how the apple hadn't fallen far from, or how the apple had fallen far from the tree. And it was just kind of interesting because they were going back to that debut Goldust character, even though we've been through all of this. So
hearing all that, I think that's what made me think he just came back at the Rumble, because it's kind of reintroducing the audience to him.
Yeah. And I guess I was kind of taken aback, because usually when somebody reappears or whatever, and you've got commentary building him up, they've kind of shifted their character a little bit, or it's transformed in some way, but we've taken a step back, and it didn't feel like a bad step back. It felt like, like an old pair of shoes. Like, yeah, this fits right. So we get a match from RVD and Goldust. I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad match. It's not like a great match in my opinion. We get a great 5-star frog splash from Rob Van Damme, who ends up pinning Goldust for the 1-2-3. What did you think of this match, John?
It was good. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's nothing to, like, you don't need to search it out. But if you're sitting down and watching the show, I mean, you can watch it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't call it a popcorn match, and I wouldn't say it needs to be on either one of their DVDs as a highlight match.
No.
DVDs, listen to us.
Yeah, and my other thought is, this is early 2002, so I felt like Van Damme in 2001 was like mega over and pushed this guy to the main event, and I think he even had a main event in a 3-way at No Mercy before, like a couple months prior, and I felt like the WWE is kind of downshifting with RVD.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't know how to push him, or like rumors he's reckless or stiff in the ring for whatever reason brought him down. But
I think it was Paul Heyman.
It's possible, but the next month he's wrestling for the IC title, and
Right.
it's one of those like, dude was mega over, selling tons of T-shirts. I felt like he was primed for the main event.
I strongly agree, and so did obviously a lot of the audience going over because man was he over. This is the year that I bought my foam thumbs, the RVD. It was
Still
this year.
those?
I do.
Oh.
Actually, they might be in the other room now. So yeah, and for those of you watching at home, yeah, in the Midwest here, we've got like a snowpocalypse and ice and stuff. So I wasn't even able to get to my studio to record. So this is all new and different surroundings for me. But yeah, so yeah, that totally threw me. I don't know. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So, legend has it, obviously, yes, he had a bit of a reputation backstage for, some stuff. And, but also through Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson's podcast, Something to Wrestle With, kind of a common go-to for Bruce is how he talks about how when Paul Heyman gets behind somebody, he gets behind him so hard and so fast and so much and shoves it down Vince or whoever's booking or writing their throats, it kind of almost turns them off to where like, I don't know, And I think this is where Rob suffered. I think this is a perfect example of that's probably what's happening.
Yeah. One of those urban legends I always heard from the dirt sheets in the early 2000s was like RVD kicked Angle in the mouth like multiple times, like across a couple matches, and Karen Angle showed up backstage and screamed like, "You quit doing it!" I wouldn't let Kurt wrestle him again. Not that she had any power, but that was one of the things I always remembered, like from back in those times.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, again, decent match, nothing to write home about. Yeah. So
we talked about it way too long, but yeah, 5-star frog splash for the finish, and that was the match.
What? Then we go from the ring to one of the hallways backstage, and we get Austin just giving everybody the evil eyes. He walks right into the NWO, and it's a great little segment. Of all people in the NWO, it's Scott Hall that offers him some beer, and he says, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I thought you might be thirsty." It was so tremendous. It really was. And then he just, finally Austin takes the beer after he's like, "I don't want the beer." And they're like, "Take it." He takes it, slings it over his shoulder. And man, just a great little interaction. And it's really cool because this is the beginning of, you kind of see the NWO making their way through the locker room, which I thought was a brilliant way to keep that storyline, that thread going. It's not just in the ring. Like, we want to know as fans, like, what is the actual interaction backstage? Because this is kind of the era where they start letting some of the marks and the smarks, kind of in on the jig. And so it was cool to see, because I thought so-and-so had heat with so-and-so. Well, now we're seeing the interactions.
I love Scott Hall.
Right?
He is the man. And, that little backstage promo had me dying. And Austin throwing away the beer upset me. I was like, come on, man. They're trying to be good. They're just good.
Right, they just turned babyface.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get along backstage. They're trying to make some friends. And Austin just, chucks the beer.
That was so good.
Fun. I like that.
Do I look thirsty?
Nice little thing. That was good.
Yeah. All right. So our next match, we've got Booker T and Test versus the WWF Tag Team Champions Taz and Spike Dudley. Interesting matchups, I guess. I don't know. I never thought I'd see Booker Test.
I think that was carryover from Survivor Series when Test turned on the Alliance, or turned to join the Alliance, turned on WWF.
Right.
And my thought during entrances on this were, when were Taz and Spike Dudley a tag team?
Thank you.
And then I saw the tag titles with them, and no recollection of this.
100% exact same thing for me. I'm like, why? How?
And for this, I was just like, oh, I guess Taz and Spike are going to lose this match because I don't remember them as a tag team.
Right.
No, they went
Nope.
over.
Yep. Sure enough. So we get some really actually pretty good stuff here. We get a really nice bridge suplex from Taz, going for a pin, misses it. Just to jump in here, we've got the names. Taz on Test, and Test shoves the ref. The ref shoves him back, which Test kind of steps back and ends up in the wait a minute, what? My notes don't even make sense. Taz mission on Test. Test shoves ref. Ref shoves back.
No. Taz pushes Test into the ref. Then the ref pushes Test backwards into Taz. Catches him. Kata Hajime. Taz mission.
Right.
All she wrote.
There you go. Yep. Taz. Oh my goodness. Too many T's in this match that I can't handle. Test taps. Taz and Spike retain.
The other note for the match, commentary calls Taz and Spike the lightest tag team champions ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Sure.
Right. I'll believe it, I guess. Why not? Yeah. So, like you said, they end up retaining, and who knew?
I'm sure that was just like some sort of thing to amuse Vince and laugh. Like, they're both small.
Right. Pretty much. Well, then we go backstage, and we get The Rock with Jonathan Coachman. Coach asks Rock how his physical condition is, and Rock breaks third person, which was very rare in this era, but it was something that he would dip into every now and then, kind of around this time. And he says that Taker tried to end The Rock's career. Taker tried to end my career. And just a good little promo. Good for what it was, for just a quick little backstage setup. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. If NWO wasn't coming in, would it have been Rock Taker at Mania?
I would have thought.
I mean, that's what makes sense to me. Unless they were going to go Rock Austin again, because Austin wrestled Hall.
Yeah. And actually, now that you say that, no, I think the argument would be that that would have been your third in the trilogy with Rock and Austin. They wouldn't have spaced it out 2 years.
Yeah. But yeah, like that was kind of my thought going into it, was would they have done Rock Austin or Rock Taker? Because like Rock Taker easily could have been Mania.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, nice little promo backstage. Rock will get another promo later on we'll talk about. It leads us into our IC match.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
A baby. Just a baby.
He does look young as all get out there. Edge with the Rob Zombie entrance, Dragula, which I thought was a nice change of pace for the Edge character. Going against the Intercontinental Champion William Regal.
Yes.
So I'm going to do this in reverse on this match. What did you, without going into details about what happened, just overall, what did you think of this match?
I really liked it, minus the one botch, but I really enjoyed it.
So let's see if we can. Because I think there was 2 botches. So
one's really kind bad.
Of. Yeah. Oh, one was really bad, and that's that. I mean, without even having to say it, we know which botch that was. So, we get. I'll bring up my botch first, I guess. We get a really, and this is something that we didn't see there very much in WWF at this time, but we get a double underhook powerbomb from William Regal to Edge, which is supposedly going to bust open the insides, if you will. He'll be bleeding internally, will Edge, via this power bomb. But here you can see in the picture, now's the time, kids, to turn your station if you don't want to know that the jig is up. But you can see clearly in the right hand of the referee, he's got something, and so he passes it on to Edge. Edge can't keep it in his hands because his hands are all slippery. Well, it's a blood capsule that has fallen apart in 2 parts after he put it in his mouth. So you could literally see him picking it up, putting one piece under the ring, picking the other piece up, scooting it under the ring, And then, there you can see all of his handiwork. And even though he's bleeding internally, he's got blood all over his hands. Who knows why?
Yeah, and I thought that I wasn't paying attention to that because I was because that power bomb on the outside,
dude. Stiff.
I felt that one through the TV.
Yep.
And then Regal gets him inside the ring and does another power bomb.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Is where we're at the botch that we both were talking about, but
yeah, so it was one on the outside, one on the inside, and then he tries the third one on the outside.
I watched this several times trying to figure out what went wrong or who went wrong, and I just don't know. It was a mess, and it was nasty.
Judging from how Regal bumped, I think Edge was going to Hurricane Rana him.
Gotcha. Oops.
But
gotcha.
that's just a guess. But the way Regal took his bump, that's what I was thinking they were trying for.
Gotcha. It was hard for me to tell because it looked almost like Regal was like, whatever move, they're going for, Regal just, stopped it and was like doing all he could to try to save Edge from dying. I'm like you. I felt it through the TV, man. It was rough.
And we haven't even touched on the stipulation for
that. Oh, yeah. Now that we've acquired WCW, let's acquire their crappy booking and put everything on a poll. So what are we putting on the poll here, John?
Brass knuckles.
Why?
That was Regal's gimmick then.
I know, but what's funny? Absolutely. And it was a great gimmick. I loved it because I hated him for it. Not, the whole thing with putting something on a pole is it's usually something that people in the rafters can see. And you're putting this itty bitty little set of brass knuckles on a metal pole.
It's brass. It's shiny.
Weird. Oh, okay, yeah. Says the expert. So shenanigans happen. The brass knucks come flying off the pole into the middle of the ring, and it's your
legal ones. Those are legal.
Right. Well, those are the ones from off the pole.
Yeah.
And so we get our little scene, just like in a Western or in an action movie, where both guys are down there trying to reach for the gun. And so slowly but surely, Edge makes his way to the brass knucks. He's going to get his comeuppance. He goes to go punch Regal, and oh no, Regal had another pair in his trunks after all. There we could see his spare pair
of brass knucks.
Oh yeah. I've been waiting all week to use that line. So Regal ends up obviously retaining since he's the one that connected the punch with the brass knuckles. Now, I'll not say, but what did you think of the way that this match played out?
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I really thought it was good. The only thing that seemed odd to me was it was Edge who kept going for the brass knucks and not Regal.
Right. Yep.
So I thought that was interesting take on psychology.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would have liked to have seen we see this 10 years later when Regal's in a ladder match. I would have liked to seen Regal scared of heights, scared to go to the top rope to get the knucks. I would have liked something like that.
Right.
But yeah, no, the botch and the Edge psychology I thought was odd. But Regal works stiff. I always liked him. So
yeah,
I enjoyed the match.
So for me, I thought the wrestling was great, minus the botches and the silly little blood in front of everybody. Like, whatever, who cares? Stuff happens. It's not going to be slick every time. But the thing for me, as somebody that was a WWF only pretty much fan, so this was probably one of my first on a pole matches. Why was it not the winner when you got the thing off the pole? Why are we going for a cover? I was like, wait, what? Why? Then why is it a stipulation? It was just kind of weird. But yeah.
When we finish the show, there is rebooking with this match I would like to talk about.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And this might be the only one I really have an issue with in the whole show.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We'll Duly noted, and we'll continue on then. So we go backstage from there, from that bloody mess in the ring, and we get Lillian Garcia not ring announcing, but she's doing some backstage interviewing with Kurt Angle. And Kurt's confident of his abilities against Triple H, even with Stephanie as a guest referee.
Yeah.
So, because it is a stacked deck against him.
Against Kurt or Triple H?
I'm sorry. What's that?
It's a stacked deck against Triple H.
Well, true, correct. Yes, yeah. Because the whole there's a lot of good stuff right there that I want to touch on. But so that's kind of setting up what's to come in the night. So our next match is actually going to be The Rock versus The Undertaker in our first of the 3 main events in this triple main event pay-per-view. So coming to the ring first, which was weird to me, being a big Undertaker fan. But we get Taker coming out to the ring on his Titan bike. I'm assuming Titan bike. It's how they always address it. Some of them probably could have been Harleys for all I know. I don't know. And then it was refreshing to see The Rock come out to just a sprint instead of doing the whole, look at me and showboat. Like, this was like, I don't want to say a blood feud, but it was a personal feud. It felt important. And I thought that was a nice way to do it. One of the things that stuck out to me in this match, if you're watching this on video, don't be this girl. Why? Rock's over here selling against the barricade, and people are just like hugging and touching, and he's like and having this great match with the Undertaker. Security just sucks a big one, and it was weird to me. It stood out to me. But we get them battling around ringside for a little bit. We get them battling through the crowd and kind of almost into the backstage area. But then I don't know if the cameras couldn't reach or what. And they literally do a U-turn through the other set of doors and start heading back to the ring. Then Taker goes back to his bike and he's like, screw this, I'm out. And we get Mike Chioda, the referee. Hey, what are you doing? Don't you leave. Which I thought was really odd. And then he ends up pushing Chioda into the stairs. And Mike Chioda took one heck of a bump on those stairs, man. Another one that you felt through the TV. And then all of a sudden we see it's time for a tune-up on the bike, maybe? Taker's reaching for something on the bike, and he pulls out a lead pipe. And he's headed to the ring to go and give him the what for. But he's cut off by a flare with his chops. Then we get a run-in from Vince McMahon as Rock has a sharpshooter on The Undertaker. And The Rock's not having this either, so he makes his way over to Vince, pulls him into the ring, and that's enough of a distraction to give Flair time to knock Taker in the head with said lead pipe, which goes into rock bottom for the 1, 2, 3. And The Rock wins this match.
Well, you covered it all. So.
I took so many screenshots and notes on this. I'm like, man, I'm outdoing myself.
Yeah. To go back to the beginning, I loved him running out also. I thought that was a nice touch. Blood feuds, matches that have importance where the two guys they're in a fight. It makes sense to run out. The classic example I can think
many
of
times. What's that?
The classic example I can think of is Matt and Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 25.
25, yep. And this is an argument where I see this a lot in modern blood feuds, and they still get all their stuff in and walk to the ring. I'm like, go!
Yeah. And it's a thing where like that the Hardy match at 25, supposedly Matt had burned Jeff's house down, run him off the road, and all this stuff, and Matt's out first. Jeff comes out and he does his dance the whole way down to the ring. It's just like, why?
And at that point, it didn't matter what they did in the match. It was dead in the water to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The argument is supposedly from Vince is that the people pay to see the entrance. Right. And if you don't show the entrance, you're gypping the fans. Well, psychology matters to the fans also. So having Rock out, do that, it makes sense for him to come running out. They had a great brawl all over the arena. You were right about Chioda taking that bump. The lead pipe coming into play was huge. It got Flair out. Storyline reasons, Vince comes out as well. and finished with that rock bottom. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and it sets up Taker Flair. It sets up your match for the next month.
Right.
So,
and as kind of a
really
setup
good.
match for Mania, this was a great, very entertaining, told a great story kind of match.
Yeah.
Honestly, not to spoil the finish of our show, but there's nothing that I would change about this match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and like you have Rock going up, well, he's going to go wrestle Hogan and have that killer match there. He needs to be on a win before he does that. And Taker, Taker can handle a loss at No Way Out because he's going to beat Ric Flair in 4 weeks,
Right?
At Mania. So, yeah. Well done.
Truly, and honestly, the only thing that I found weird, like I said, was why is Mike Chioda concerned about the Undertaker leaving? Like, just count him out and be done. But I mean, obviously, there's a reason. So
yeah.
So let's see here. Up next, well, John, who we got up next?
Angle versus Triple H. No? Oh, Mr. Perfect.
There you go. Your man.
I didn't even write it down. I just thought it was so... Mr. Perfect's at WWF New York.
It was random. It was so random.
Jeans, a leather jacket, and no shirt. Just a jacket.
Well, yeah, because, it's so tropical there in New York in February.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally odd. And he's showing off his physique, and it's just... Why?
And he's another one who just came back at the Royal Rumble a couple weeks beforehand.
Right, and had a great pop.
I think he was down to the final 2 or 3.
Don't know why they were, huh?
I think Mr. Perfect was down to the final 2 or 3.
Yep. They booked him really smart in that Royal Rumble match. Yeah. So our next match is the number 1 contender match with Triple H versus Kurt Angle. And Stephanie McMahon Helmsley is the special guest referee. The build-up to this match is what I kind of want to touch on before we actually start. They, as per usual, did a really good job of the build-up package where it's this teasing back and forth of, are they going to break up or not? Because there's a lot of tension there. And Triple H walks away basically and is saying he's through. She says, I'm pregnant. And all of a sudden it's open arms and, oh, this is great.
The renewal of the vows. Oh.
Yeah. So we get we get to see that the doctor's confirming, yes, they're going to have a baby. I like that wasn't a gender reveal. Then we get Arn Anderson giving a little FedEx package to Triple H. And of course it is 2002. So what is it? It's a VHS tape. Hunter pops it in and finds out that, well, what does he find out here, John?
That doctor is really an actor, and she's not pregnant.
Boom! There you go.
Oh,
so being the smart heel that he is, he's not going to let anybody know that he knows, and so they're going to go ahead and renew the vows.
Is Triple H smart? Is that part of the gimmick?
What's that?
Is Triple H smart? Is that part of the gimmick?
It must be.
So cerebral.
So we get as it's kind of a wrestling staple, we get a good old wrestling wedding, another vow renewal, and Triple H says, I'm starting to see you for exactly who you are, and then we get our heel turn and all hell breaks loose.
I would say that's the face turn.
Well, correct. Better said. Yeah. And then my favorite Stephanie McMahon moment of all time.
Terrifying.
Just seething rage. It's so good. And then again, more build up with the stipulations of the match, and she says, "I'm gonna be the special guest referee." And just really good stuff. It's been a lot of good back and forth between Triple H and Kurt, and whose side is she on, kind of thing. So yeah. So our first person to the ring is, of course, our special guest referee, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, looking very plasticky in every sense of the word. Kurt Angle comes to the ring, and then we get Triple H's entrance.
When Stephanie gets to the ring, she corrects, I think it was Fink, corrects Howard Finkel. Stephanie McMahon
Right.
drops the Helmsley.
Yes. Yep. Again, a nice little touch.
Yeah.
So we get her as the got that picture out of order. We got her as the special guest referee, and there's some interesting little ways of using her in the match. Of course, one of which was her just leisurely standing after making a count against the ropes, and of course, wouldn't you know it, she gets taken out by him, and what an awkward bump she takes. So she's out. She gets carted off.
That was a ferocious clothesline from Kurt.
It was.
She flew backwards over the rope, landed on her feet, and toppled backwards. But
right.
I mean, he was moving on that clothesline.
He was, and honestly, that's as bless her heart. This is exactly what this match needed. Just as a continuation of the storyline, this is what the fans wanted to see. You know, is this conniving woman finally getting her what's coming to her, and yeah, so she does. So then we get referee Timmy White coming out, and he ends up getting shoved and gets a ref bump. Out comes Stephanie again. She's coming back holding her neck. Comes to the ring to make a count, and Hunter kicks out from the Olympic Slam, I think it was. And then we get another Stephanie bump. So we're up to 3 rough bumps in one match. Boy, it seems to be a lot of the same with Triple H. A lot of his matches involve that in this era. I've got so many pictures, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
So Triple H is going to hit the pedigree, and are we at the? Yeah, we're at the He's going to hit the pedigree on Steph. Kurt hits him with a chair shot to the back, then one to the head, follows it up with Olympic Slam. 1, 2, 3. And one of the stipulations was Triple H lost his WrestleMania main event because Triple H, the pay-per-view before, won the Royal Rumble.
That's right.
That obviously changes because Kurt's not in the main event in 4 weeks. So they've got 4 weeks of TV for Hunter to get that back. The big story they're telling at this time period is Triple H is back from the quad tear. And he comes back at MSG to that giant ovation, says, I'm coming back, I'm entering the Rumble, wins the Rumble, and then I think this is first first pay-per-view match back outside of the Rumble.
Right.
And my thoughts on Triple H in 2002 weren't great. Because
really?
Like in 2000, 2001, I was like, yeah, Triple H, let's go. And when he came back, yeah, the pop was awesome, and he was just so big, like up top.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't so bad in this match as it is in other matches in this year, where when he bumps, he can't get up. And like,
I never even noticed that. Really,
it's like he'll bump, and it takes him like, I don't know, 5 Mississippi to get back.
I mean, just so
huge.
Build out. Yeah.
Yeah. So back then, like, I loved H in 2000, 2001. Then the quad tear happens, and you know the story of his redemption, his comeback. It's all well and good, but this was a fine match.
Then the bell rang.
This was a fine match, but then 02 into 03, it's like, ugh. Like, I think you joked off camera about the golden shovel, but
right,
his matches weren't that great either around this time. This one was fine, but you also had a lot of shenanigans. You had a lot going on.
Right.
They did a lot of build for the story, and you know, Kurt's an animal at this point.
Honestly, yeah, and that's the thing. Kurt has done such a good job of learning the business and stuff very quickly, and it could be argued that we're in peak Kurt Angle territory here.
We're like a year and 4 months into Kurt's career in WWF.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah, the match was good. I like the finish. I like how Steph was involved. Kurt, like I said, Kurt's clothesline on her was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if they rehearsed that very much, but man, somebody should have told her how to take a bump better on that, because if she would have let go of the rope sooner, she would have been fine or better. But
I feel like it was Steph, just jump and I'll knock you over the rest of the way, and he did.
Right. Yeah, he took care of business.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good for storytelling. I enjoyed this one. I think it's stuff later on where I start to with age. But yeah, this one was fine.
Well, and on the flip side of the coin, I thought Hunter was really good at taking maybe not getting up from the bumps, but taking bumps, taking some of these chair shots and stuff. He was always, in my opinion, really good about making those look snug and good.
Yeah, but like he looks just insane in this match.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, that whole time he was gone for the quad tear, did he just work the upper body? Like, it's
right.
crazy.
Yeah, honestly. Yep. So after the match, Kurt's booking it out of here, man. He feels like he's snuck on over. So he's all wrapped up in his towel, and he's heading straight out in his town car, and he's getting out of Dodge. So
yeah.
Then we go even further backstage. We get The Rock backstage. He's kind of icing down after his previous match. And, well, wouldn't you know, there's the NWO again. And Hogan just wants a picture, brother, for his son.
Lil Nick.
Lil Nick, but before he knew how to hot rod cars. And, yeah, so good stuff. We get a little picture with Rock and Hogan. Hogan walks off. I didn't catch what he said. Do you know, John?
I missed it too. I think it was Nash, not Hogan.
No, so Hogan said he said something under his breath, and that's why Rock stops him and says, "Hey, wait, what did you say?" And he starts to say, and Rock says, "No, it's all good." And then that's when he turns to Hall and says, he does the Razor Ramon impression.
I think Hogan said something along the lines of, it's my son's favorite, and no accounting for taste. It was something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
And
that sounds about right.
And that's where Rock, cuts a classic promo. This is a great Rock promo, but I don't think I don't think it gets the love it deserves. But
I agree. And now, awesome. What's funny is we say that, but I know it's on the Rock's DVD. Okay. It's been in 100 memes and gifs with a. It's so good, but I thought it was so. It's so funny because it's and this is what makes wrestling so fun is it's the little things, the Easter eggs, and it's like, okay, now we've got. These guys used to be these people, but now it's Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. But we're gonna do a little nod back and show Razor Ramon, Chico, bad guy, and Diesel. It's so good. The Rock is like, I mean, he can't miss, man. He cannot miss.
Looks at Hogan, makes a crack about taking his vitamins, saying his prayers.
Right.
Oh my goodness, so good.
Yep.
Go Rocky.
So, well, it looks like we've got somebody else coming down the hallway here. It is your undisputed WWF champion. That's Chris Jericho coming down with the WWF championship and the WCW World Heavyweight title. Yeah, John, I'm sure you were loving that.
That was good. The part that took me out of it real quick, though, back when they had all the pay-per-view songs every month. Yes. I guess they still do. The package they go to for Jericho Austin, they did at the beginning of the show as well, is not the pay-per-view song. It is just some dubbed over nonsense.
That's what I thought. It's
not good.
No. Was it? I'm assuming was it originally a Fozzy song or what?
No, I assume it could have been like a Disturbed or Saliva,
right.
Whoever.
Yeah, no, you're right. They were doing a lot of those.
And they didn't license it out for the network. And
right.
Ooh, woof. It took, like, the video's there, but it's generic rock playlist number 12. It's not good.
Right.
So the match, Jericho Austin. I love Jericho. And like him and Austin, it's fine. Like I don't think it's anything to like go nuts over the match itself. And when you get to the end, that's where you get all the NWO coming out again.
Right. So we've got Stone Cold Steve Austin. Another weird one for me, man. It's so weird to see Stone Cold coming out first. I know it's, again, I am a traditionalist, so I do prefer the champion to come out last. But it's Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
And he is mega over. We talked about it earlier with the Watts. The crowd went nuts for him.
Yeah. He could have literally walked out and picked his nose and walked back, never said a word, and the crowd would have lost their minds at this point. Like, he is that over. So, again, this is for the undisputed WWF Championship. And here comes said champion to the ring, Chris Jericho. We get I don't know if you can tell what this is from the picture, but I sure can, John. Can you tell what's going on here?
Chop block or lion salt?
Well, that's clearly a bulldog from the old slop master himself, Chris Jericho. So sloppy, he might as well have been one of the Godwins. Good grief. It was awful, man. And I'm gonna say this, and when I say this, I don't mean, I didn't like him because he was a heel. I mean, I didn't like him because I thought he sucked. I thought he couldn't wrestle. I thought he was sloppy. His timing was off. I could not stand it.
I don't we've talked about it before, where I thought Rock and Jericho meshed really well, and something about those two together just worked.
Right.
I don't feel that way with Austin and Jericho.
I would agree.
It felt like they were on different pages.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think a lot of that is just the kind of feisty nature of Jericho. Like, hey, I deserve to be up top. And it's also in the nature of Stone Cold, like, hey, you're here because of me. You know what I mean? Whereas Rock, it's more of a dance. It's more of we're in this together kind of thing.
I don't know. You're gonna show the two lion salts.
Yeah, we'll show the first one that again was just Godwin level sloppy.
What, he hit it with just the legs?
Yeah, it was no good. So then what does he do? He hits it again.
Yeah,
hit it again, brother.
Honestly, I was ready for him to go for a third. I was like, yeah, let's keep going.
He would have blown up.
It's funny you say that. Triple H, I thought, was blowing up a bunch in the previous.
Oh, I'm sure. But see, But I equate that to ring rust, if you will. Like, he's not had the cardio to doing all these matches. But I did notice that also.
He's carrying 30 pounds up top.
And it wasn't a gold belt either.
No.
Yeah. So what we get? Yet another ref bump on tonight's pay-per-view.
It's an NWO show. Come on.
Well, okay, yeah, sure. We get so Jericho. Talk to us about this. Jericho's doing a little bit of a different finisher. Is it a finisher? Or is it a signature move, or whatever you want to call it?
That was kind of something he did. He'd been doing it a few months prior. Back in October, he used it to beat The Rock to become WCW champion. The breakdown was like a breakdown. Full Nelson face slam, kind of similar to the stroke from Jeff Jarrett.
Right. What's the
Miz's skull crushing finale?
There you go.
If you will. But yeah, just a full Nelson face smash, and it was breakdown was the name of it. And that was kind of like the start of Jericho going main event.
Right.
When he started tinkering with that.
Yeah. Finally, after over a year, 2 years almost at this point. He literally debuted at the top and then went down and then back up. It was weird. I've never understood that.
He debuted. I don't think you can say he debuted at the top. He debuted in a prominent segment with the top guy, but the next week he was in a feud going for he spent the first few months feuding with Hardcore Holly in China for the IC title.
Right. So. Which was great, but I don't know. I've always questioned the fact that maybe somebody backstage didn't like that first segment. And so they were going to probably put him on top because they needed top guys, because that was the time that Austin was out. And was it, or do am I wrong on that? I can't remember for sure. Dates.
I don't know.
But anyway, it just had that feeling of, yeah, we're going to start you here. No, maybe not. Maybe we're wrong. Okay, yeah, we'll let you go.
We wanted you to have a big debut, but then we put him back down.
Yeah. Yep. So then we get the Walls of Jericho on Jericho from Austin. Interesting little tidbit to see there. And here comes the old NWO. They're finally making their presence known in the ring. And it's just a instant. Isn't this is this a disqualification?
No, ref is down.
Oh, that's right. We've done a ref bump.
Yeah. And then Scott Hall hits the Stone Cold Stunner, and it's not a good stunner.
It's awful. It's so sloppy. So then Jericho we finally get. Yep, we get the 1, 2, 3 from the half dead ref, and NWO is backing off, and then headed backstage. Oh no, we're gonna run back down to the ring. Scott Hall wants to get his stunner in again, make this one look better, and it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Austin took it well, and then as we go off the air, we get NWO spray painting NW on the back of Steve Austin. Ran out of room, brother.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So do you want to talk about your thoughts on the match, or do you want to go through the whole card?
The match, like I said, I don't think Jericho and Austin just gelled well together, and it really didn't matter what you did. Jericho, like the story I said was Triple H chasing the title, and you were going to have Austin and Triple H do stuff later together again. Right. I think that was probably the long-term booking plan. So they needed Jericho as a heel to basically sacrifice to Triple H's comeback and finish telling out that story. So the match itself, it was, I wish it would have been better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The show overall, let's see. All the promos backstage I really enjoyed. The tag team turmoil, that was cool. I would have cut Goldust and RVD from the show.
Yep.
Given more time to the tag match, so they could have.
Which tag match? The turmoil or
turmoil? The turmoil. I would have liked that to have more time. And I would have put RVD in the Edge and William Regal match.
Oh, as a triple threat.
And make that a triple threat without the brass knuck stipulation. And then do something to end that so that and like I know the story's Regal or RVD beats Regal the next month for the IC, I think, at Mania. I would have had the three-way end in shenanigans or have Regal retain and then maybe do the same match or a singles match at Mania, and I would have given the IC to Edge and kind of put him up that way.
Yeah. But I will say, though, that I thought that the as awkward as it was, the brass knucks on a pole match was a fun continuation of the storytelling of how heelish and just dastardly Regal is and how powerful these knucks are. So to take the on a pole away match kind of takes away some of the weight, no pun intended, away from these brass knucks and the importance of them to the Regal character.
Yeah, I would have liked more time for the turmoil match. And the Edge Regal, I think you could have done more with it down the line. And I don't know, maybe you do something with RVD in that main event and make it a three-way. Something to give that a little more flavor. But I know RVD was in a three-way with Austin and Angle a few months prior on pay-per-view, but
okay.
I mean,
what I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm going to. Do you know what he did? RVD did at Mania this year, at the next month.
18. I thought it was RVD and Regal at Mania. Is that wrong?
Might have been.
Yeah. But yeah, I would have done something like that just to
kind of accelerate that story.
Give that tag team turmoil a little more time, and maybe give that IC title a little more prestige, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the words. RVD defeats Regal for the Intercon at Mania. Yeah,
okay,
that's for sure. But yeah, I would have maybe hot shot the do Regal, Edge, and RVD at No Way Out. Have Regal retain and then have RVD beat him at the next month. I mean, or Edge. I would have liked to see Edge get it.
Yeah.
But I guess they were going. Yeah, I don't know. It just. Yeah, I thought they could have done more with it.
So for me,
Edge defeats Booker T at Mania the next month. So I mean, that is a big win for Edge. But I would have liked to seen Edge get the IC and have RVD do something more prominent.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And the rest of the show, Taker Rock, I think was great. The Booker T and Test versus Taz and Spike. It wasn't long, so I like that. Taker Rock was quality. Angle Triple H was good. Austin Jericho. It ended with NWO. I don't know. I really like the show overall. But that turmoil match, like I said, they were going 1,000 miles an hour. And...
Yeah. So I second your sentiment on the turmoil match. It should have been longer to where they could have slowed some of that down. Again, not that it was so fast. I was like, oh, this is too fast. It's just like, this is nice, like, but I want more, so let's pace it a little differently that way. So there's that. As far as the Goldust RVD match, I'm kind of like you. Nothing really stood out. So something should have been different. It's weird. I can't put my finger on what that should have been on this one. The next match with Booker T and Taz versus and Spike Dudley. So I almost, first of all, it was it felt like such a thrown together tag team that I don't know that I even needed it on the show. If we already have somebody fighting for the spot to fight whoever, why do we have somebody else fighting for the title there? You know what I mean? Like, why not have the Booker T and Taz versus Taz and Spike match maybe should have happened at Rumble, and then let it breathe for a month, let the turmoil happen this month, and then your big match at Mania.
Looking at the Goldust thing again, I could have gone with Goldust, RVD and Edge in a 3-way, and the winner gets a shot at Regal at Mania.
Yeah.
That would have been more appealing to me.
Yeah.
But again, I did like that Brass Knucks match. I just think it could have done more.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm exactly like you with what was our next one? The Rock versus Taker. Great match. I thought. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say 5 stars or anything like that, but it was a great pay-per-view match. Yeah. So honestly, there's nothing I would. They
beat each other up in a great brawl all over the arena. And it's set up gave Rock a win going into his match with Hogan. It gave Taker a reason to fight Flair.
Yeah, it was. If you're running a marathon and you're running track and you're passing the baton to the next runner, that's what this match was. We're crossing storylines to get to the next spot, and it was very well done.
It's funny you say baton because that lead pipe looks just like a baton.
It does. Yeah,
it's great.
That's really funny. I'm sure there was a reason, but I would not have had Perfect on the show at WWF New York. That just seemed like a Sunday Night Heat spot. Just really kind of weird. Kurt Angle and Triple H, good stuff. I really enjoyed the storyline because I, as many was tired at this point of seeing Hunter and Triple H, Hunter and Stephanie together with the McMahon Helmsley faction and all this kind of stuff. So it was nice to have a little breather on that.
And the crowd. The crowd was just hot in this time.
They really were, yeah. And where were we at? Michigan? Wisconsin, and Milwaukee. Yeah.
But they were hot for Austin, and Triple H coming back from that quad tear. Whew,
yeah.
Man, that dude was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, him going to Mania to win the title there. He's an over dude.
Big time.
People loved him back then.
Yep. Jericho and Austin. All I could do is, say that I really had hoped that Austin would have won both titles at this show and went on at Mania as the champion. I was just not. There's no way around it. I was just not a Jericho fan during this time at all. I thought his work was just slop. So that's what I would have changed. I would have taken Jericho out of the equation. He would have never been the first undisputed champion in my book.
Ooh. I won't say it's his best match, but
Right.
ooh, that's pretty blasphemous what you're saying.
Well, I mean, if I'm ever going to say it, this is kind of the pay-per-view to say it, because you've already said yourself it's not a great showing for Jericho, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I will be the first to admit. Yeah, exactly, and that's it. I'll be the first to admit it takes two to tango, and they weren't necessarily the greatest dance partners. So,
yeah, No Way Out, 2002.
Yeah, that's what we have done here. So don't forget once again to hit the subscribe button while you're here on YouTube, and we'll tune in next week for another episode right here on Recliner Wrestling Review. John, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
See ya. Bye, guys.
See ya.